Good morning, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Wanted to take one more video today to cover the irregular present progressive. Last week we started the present progressive, what we are doing, eating, sleeping, teaching, talking, listening, whatever that may be. On Wednesday, however, we started with the irregular present progressive. So we looked at stem changing verbs. We looked and we changed the I to a Y. And there was some confusion. Part of that was my fault. Some of it was in the instructions. So I wanted to take one more day to go over it, okay? So I left a bunch of feedback on the work that you guys did on Wednesday. Most of you did a really, really good job. There was just some confusing parts of it, okay? So stick along with me and hopefully I can clear up some of those issues and we'll do a few more practice things, okay? So I'm gonna start sharing my screen and we're gonna look at our same presentation from the other day about the present progressive. So the biggest problem that we ran into was that we started doing the irregulars and people thought that you didn't need to use a star anymore. So quickly, I want to reiterate that you always need a form of a star. This is what tells us who is doing the action, okay? The instructions on the activity were not super clear. So I don't blame you. When I went back and looked at it, it was a little bit confusing. So I want to reiterate that you always need a form of a star, okay? Estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. And then we know how to form the ing ending with ando for AR verbs and iendo for ER or IR verbs, okay? On Wednesday, we learned some of these irregulars. They have stem changes. So I left comments and feedback for you guys. Most of you did a really good job, but some of you forgot to change the E to an I or the O to a U in the case of dormir. All right. So we also have a second set of irregulars that require us to change the I to a Y. We have to do that when the I falls between two vowels. The three examples I gave were layer, creer, and traer. However, there were other examples on the activity that we did, like oír, and what was the other verb? Oír, and I don't remember what the other verb was, but there's a ton of verbs. Destruir, there's a ton of verbs in Spanish that have to change the I to a Y. If you look at the examples here, you see that we still need a form of a star. Yo estoy leyendo. I am reading. ¿Estás creyendo esto? Are you believing this? Está trayendo jugo. He or she is bringing juice. Okay, so notice we still have a form of a star, and there's just an irregularity in our ing form. Okay, we also have to look at some of our reflexive verbs one more time. Some of you guys were screwing this up and you were totally forgetting to put the reflexive verb in, or the reflexive pronoun, excuse me. So let's look at my 6 examples. Verbs like vestirse, remember we recognize it a reflexive verb because it ends in se. We can either put it beforehand or we can put it attached to the end. Remember, my reflexive pronoun matches the subject of the sentence. So if my subject is yo, I have to change the se to a me. Me estoy vistiendo. I am dressing myself. If the subject is nosotros, I have to match the reflexive pronoun to nosotros, which is nos. So I can say either estamos preparándonos, or I can take the nos and put it out front and say nos estamos preparando. All right, so that's 2 different ways to do it. So I think most of you knew that. There was just some confusion a little bit on what exactly you guys had to do and forgetting to use a form of a star, okay? So we're going to backtrack a little bit and take one more day to practice to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. So when you go into Schoology, you will see that you need to complete a workbook activity. You're only doing actividades A, B, C, y D. Ustedes no tienen que hacer actividad A, all right? You do not have to do that. I will show you what it looks like here quickly. So you can follow along. Oh, here it is. We'll open up the PDF. It's 2 pages, 2 different activities, okay? It turned out kind of janky. This is my first time scanning a document, and so forgive me for that. First part, really, really simple, using our regular verbs, a form of a star, and then our ando, yendo. Second part has you practicing your irregulars, just filling in the blanks with the letters. Finally, you are already given the form of a star in part C. All you have to do is put in the ando or iendo, changing to match the irregulars. And finally, in actividad D, it's kind of trippy with my finger over there, you are turning the sentence from present to present progressive. So instead of saying you ask for help or she says the truth, we want it to say you are asking for help or she is telling the truth. Okay, so we took dice from the verb decir and we added or we changed it into está diciendo. Okay. So you're taking all of these 8 sentences and you're changing it from the present to the present progressive. All right, so that's actividad número uno. The next thing you're going to do is practice writing your own sentences. This will open up a Google Doc for you. You will all have your own copy. So there are 2 assignments for today. All right, this will be the last thing that we're doing, so I want to make sure you understand what's happening. The next thing you are going to do is answer these questions according to what's happening in the photos. So very, very simple. ¿Qué está haciendo? What is he or she doing? The baby is sleeping. Okay, está durmiendo. This baby is asking for help. This boy is reading. The waiters are serving food. And this man is dressing himself. Be careful, this is a reflexive verb, so make sure you pay attention to that. And you can always refer back to the presentation about what to do if you are having any issues. Okay. The last thing I'm going to share is that on Wednesday, I met with 2 students via Zoom, and I think it was really, really helpful. So please don't be afraid to do that. As long as your parents or guardians have filled out the consent form, I would be glad to meet with you. I can walk you through it. It went really, really well. And to be honest, it was just really nice to talk to you guys again. All right. I think we got word today that school is probably canceled through the rest of the year. Don't quote me on that. It's no guarantees, but I think that was the word from the governor. So we got to get used to this. This is our new normal, and we'll be doing just fine. So thank you to those who have been participating. I appreciate it very much. And again, let me know if you need any help. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.